I'd like to introduce you to our readers tonight. There'll be Simon Goberstein, who will be reading in Russian. Clark Brown will be reading English, and Diana Hume will be reading in English, and then I'll read some later also. This is a real pleasure for me. Clark taught a course in Russian literature and English translation last spring, and it was a great class. We read a lot of these things. And also we discovered that we were roommates in Berkeley, not roommates, but classmates in Berkeley 23 years ago. Roommates in and we found out that was because we were talking about one professor, and we were talking about Allen Ginsberg came to class to read, and that's how we figured everything out. So this is a particular pleasure for me because I think this is one of the great traditions, particularly in poetry, since the early 19th century. The Russian tradition has always, for some reason, been very close to my heart. And we'll start with Pushkin, and I'll read a little bit about Pushkin. He lived from 1799 to 1837. It is by common agreement, at least among his compatriots, the greatest of all Russian writers. The major part of his lyrics was written between 1820 and 1830, but some of his poetical masterpieces were composed in the last 7 years of his life, when he was turning attention to prose. A development can be traced from the sparkling ebullience of his early verse, the crowning achievement of which is the first chapter of Onegin. And Onegin is a very famous novel in verse, and the characters are very well known. There are lots of sayings that come out of it, like out of Shakespeare, that are repeated in the culture. To the concentrated expressiveness and restrained power of his later poetry, he really simplified. He was always a very classical writer. By effecting a new synthesis between the three main ingredients of the Russian literary idiom, the Church Slavonic, the Western European borrowings, and the spoken vernacular, Pushkin created the language of modern Russian poetry. His personal life was made difficult by his conflicts with the authorities, who disapproved of his liberal views, and the Emperor of Russia became his personal censor. And he read everything that Pushkin wrote, and he was always, in the last years of his life, under a lot of tension because of this. Yeah, you believe it. And but it's interesting. There's a really nice book on by American critic Edmund Wilson. It's called "The Window on Russia." And if you're interested in Russian literature, he has a lot of really interesting things to say about the language. And he says this about Pushkin. Just one little thing. He said, again, now the great fountainhead in Russian literature is Pushkin. From him, all these other Russian writers, in more or less degree, derive. And it'll be interesting to see if there are echoes in these other poets, which I think there are. And the qualities of Pushkin are the opposites of the qualities which are usually attributed to Russians by French and English readers. The Russians are in the habit of comparing Pushkin with Mozart. And this is perhaps the nearest one can come to a simple comparison. Pushkin does, through both his career and his qualities, somewhat recall Mozart. He's able to express through an art that is felicitous and formal a feeling that is passionate and exquisite. He has a wide range of moods and emotions, yet he handles them all with precision. And there's a lot of Russian literature that came directly out of Pushkin. For one thing, he suggested to Gogol the theme for Dead Souls. He gave Gogol the story, and Gogol wrote his masterpiece from that. Anna Karenina started where Tolstoy took a line from just this little statement, I think from one of Pushkin's diaries, and he turned it into Anna Karenina. Later it's embedded, it was the beginning of the story, now it's in the middle of the novel. But Pushkin had this tremendous effect on his contemporaries and on people who came later. So, is that good?
That is for sure. And I completely agree with that his influence was through the plot of the novel and the short sentence which was developed by Tolstoy. Tolstoy was a great writer on his own, but Pushkin was the first. He is actually creator of the modern Russian language, because Russian novels written before him are very hard to read for present-day Russian people, because the language was in 18th century was quite different, and in 17th century it was completely different. You can read, but it is like well, actually, it is the same with English.
If
but probably not that fast
Mm.
during the last 200 years.
So Pushkin brought about a kind of clarity, is that what it is?
Yes, he was genius. By the way, he was grandson of a so-called Arab of Peter the Great. Peter the Great bought a black slave when he was, and that person was the son of some duke in Africa. He was in slavery, and Peter the Great bought him when he was a boy, and he became his stepson, actually, and he became a warrior in Russia, Navy admiral, and Pushkin is his grandson.
Did Pushkin look dark? Do you know? Did
Yes,
he look
yes, he was, well, not that dark, but quite dark.
Huh.
He had curly hair.
You have the feeling he's very handsome.
Well, his grandfather was very handsome too.
Okay.
Я помню чудное мгновение. Передо мной явилась ты, как мимолетное видение, как гений чистой красоты. В томлениях грусти безнадежной, в тревогах шумной суеты звучал мне долго голос нежный, и снились милые черты. Шли годы, бурь порыв мятежный рассеял прежние мечты, и я забыл твой голос нежный, твои небесные черты. В глуши, во мраке заточенья тянулись тихо дни мои, без божества, без вдохновения, без слез, без жизни, без любви. В душе настало пробуждение, и вот опять явилось как мимолетное видение, как гений чистой красоты. И сердце бьется в упоении, и для него воскресли вновь и божество, и вдохновение, и жизнь, и слезы, и любовь.
This is a prose translation, so it won't have the same sense of rhythm and rhyme. It's poems simply called Two, and then there's a blank. I remember the wonderful moment. You appeared before me like a fleeting vision, like a spirit of pure beauty. As I languished in hopeless melancholy, amid the anxieties of the noisy and restless world, your tender voice long echoed in my mind, and I dreamt of your beloved features. Years passed. The storm's turbulent gusts scattered the dreams of yore, and I forgot your tender voice and your heavenly features. In a remote corner of the earth, in the darkness of exile, my days dragged slowly on, without divinity, without inspiration, without tears, without life, without love. Awakening came to my soul, and lo, you appeared again like a fleeting vision, like a spirit of pure beauty. And my heart beats in ecstasy, and once more within it divinity, inspiration, life, tears, and love are born.
I would like to add that a lot of his poetry became songs. Musicians, composers wrote romances, and this one is very famous. And a lot of his poetry are included in children's textbooks. For example, the next one, this Winter Night. Буря мглою небо кроет, вихри снежные крутя, то как зверь она завоет, то заплачет, как дитя. То по кровле обветшалой вдруг соломой зашумит, то как путник запоздалый к нам в окошко застучит. Наша ветхая лачушка и печальна, и темна. Что же ты, моя старушка, приумолкла у окна? Или буря завыванием ты, мой друг, утомлена?
или дремлешь под жужжанием своего веретена? Выпьем, добрая подружка бедной юности моей, выпьем с горя. Где же кружка? Сердцу будет веселей. Спой мне песню, как синица тихо за морем жила. Спой мне песню, как девица за водой поутру шла. Буря мглою небо кроет, вихри снежные крутя, то как зверя она завоет, то заплачет, как дитя. Выпьем, добрая подружка бедной юности моей, выпьем с горя. Где же кружка? Сердцу будет веселей.
A footnote points out that this poem is addressed to Pushkin's old nurse. The storm covers the sky in darkness, spinning the snowy whirlwinds. Now it howls like a wild beast, now it cries like a child, now it suddenly rustles the thatch on the ramshackle roof, now, like a belated traveler, it knocks at our window. Our tumble-down hut is gloomy and dark. Why, my little old lady, have you fallen silent by the window? Are you wearied, my dear, by the storm's howling? Or are you dozing to the hum of your spindle? Let's drink, good friend of my luckless youth. Let's drink to drown our sorrows. Where's the tankard? It will cheer our hearts. Sing me a song about the blue tit which lived quietly beyond the sea. Sing me a song about the maiden who went to fetch water in the morning. The storm covers the sky in darkness, spinning the snowy whirlwinds. Now it howls like a wild beast, now it cries like a child. Let's drink, good friend of my luckless youth. Let's drink to drown our sorrows. Where's the tankard? It will cheer our hearts.
I just want to say his nurse became very famous in Russian literature because Pushkin said that he learned a lot of folk tales, a lot of the expressions and so forth.
Yeah. For example, several of his poems were written after his stories, folk stories. He rewrote them in poetry. Now number 4.
Poet.
Пока не требует поэта к священной жертве Аполлон, в заботах суетного света он малодушно погружен. Молчит его святая лира, душа вкушает хладный сон, и меж детей ничтожных мира, быть может, всех ничтожней он. Но лишь божественный глагол до слуха чуткого коснется, душа поэта встрепенется, как пробудившийся орел. Тоскует он в забавах мира, людской чуждается молвы, к ногам народного кумира не клонит гордой головы. Бежит он дикий и суровый, и звуков, и смятенья полн, на берега пустынных волн, в широкошумные дубровы.
The poet. Until Apollo summons the poet to the holy sacrifice, faint-hearted, he is immersed in vain and worldly cares. His sacred lyre is silent. His soul lies in wintry sleep. And among the insignificant children of this world, he is perhaps the most insignificant. But no sooner does the divine word touch his keen hearing than the poet's soul starts like an eagle that has been roused. He pines among the world's diversions, shuns the rumor of the crowd, and does not bend his proud head at the feet of the people's idol. He flees, wild and austere, full of sounds and confusion, to the shores of deserted seas, into the spacious and resonant forests.
No, Ruslan. As I said, a lot of his poetry were included into children's books, and just this one, almost every child in Russia knows by heart. У лукоморья дуб зеленый, золотая цепь на дубе том, и днем и ночью кот ученый все ходит по цепи кругом. Идет направо, песнь заводит, налево сказку говорит. Там чудеса, там леший бродит, русалка на ветвях сидит. Там на неведомых дорожках следы невиданных зверей. Избушка там на курьих ножках стоит без окон, без дверей. Там лес и дол видений полный, там о заре прихлынут волны на брег песчаный и пустой, и 30 витязей прекрасных чередой из вод выходят ясных, и с ними дядька их морской. Там королевич мимоходом пленяет грозного царя, там в облаках перед народом, через леса, через моря, колдун несет богатыря. В темнице там царевна тужит, а бурый волк ей верно служит. Там ступа с бабою Егой идет, бредет сама собой. Там царь Кощей над златом чахнет. Там русский дух, там Русью пахнет. И там я был, и мед я пил, у моря видел дуб зеленый, под ним сидел, и кот ученый свои мне сказки говорил. Одну я помню, сказку эту поведаю теперь я свету.
By the shores of a bay there was a green oak tree. There was a golden chain on that oak, and day and night a learned cat ceaselessly walks round on the chain. As it moves to the right, it strikes up a song. As it moves to the left, it tells a story. There are marvels there. The wood sprite roams. A mermaid sits in the branches. There are tracks of strange animals on mysterious paths. A hut on hen's legs stands there, without windows or doors. Forest and vale are full of visions. There at dawn the waves come washing over the sandy and deserted shore, and 30 fair knights come out one by one from the clear water, attended by their sea tutor. A king's son, passing on his way, takes a dreaded king prisoner. There, in full view of the people, a sorcerer carries a knight through the clouds across forests and seas. A princess pines away in prison, and a brown wolf serves her faithfully. A mortar with Baba Yaga in it walks along by itself. There King Cachet grows sickly beside his gold. There is a Russian odor there. It smells of Russia. And I was there. I drank mead. I saw the green oak tree by the sea and sat under it, while the learned cat told me its stories. I remember one, and this story I will now reveal to the world.
That's prologue to a long poem.
And that hut on hen's legs and Baba Yaga and King Kachet are constant heroes of Russian folk stories.
Is that referred to in Three Sisters that keeps running through Masha's mind?
Pardon me, what?
Oh,
Chekhov,
yeah.
isn't that
Masha
running
and
through
Three
Masha's
Sisters
mind in Three Sisters?
by Chekhov. Remember she talks about the gold chain around the
Yes,
oak tree?
exactly
that's
about
great,
this.
yeah.
Exactly about this.
Uh-huh. Okay, is that it for
Yeah. About the green oak tree and the golden chain and the cat walking around it and telling the story. That
A hut with no doors or windows, that's their life.
Okay, we'll pass now to the revolutionary generation. And I'll read you a little bit. We're going to read some poems of Yuzenin. And Yuzenin was briefly the wife of Isadora Duncan. And had a very, what? Okay. It says, Sergei Yuzenin, the son of a peasant, at first hailed the revolution which he identified with the new mystical Christianity, but gradually he became disillusioned by the industrialization of the village and lamented the disappearance of wooden Russia in melodious and nostalgic verses. Another of his themes was the bohemian life of the Moscow taverns. After a brief and unsuccessful marriage with the dancer Isadora Duncan, 1922-23, he took increasingly to drink and fell into mental prostration. Finally, alone in a Leningrad hotel, he opened a vein in his wrist, wrote with his own blood the farewell poem given below, and hanged himself. So, I'm afraid we're getting into the very tragic generation. The survivors of this group were really Akhmatova and Pasternak. The rest of them almost all of them, I guess, committed suicide or were killed by Stalin. Mandelstam was killed by Stalin. There's another little bit about Yesenin here, though, that I think is worth reading. It tells just how much he is really loved by the Russian people. So today in the USSR, the masses of readers seem to prefer Sergei Yesenin to all other Russian poets. His poems are full of the genuine lore and imagery of the people. Many of them have been set to music. Traveling through the USSR, one hears Yesenin's poems sung or recited everywhere one goes, and they have great lyric impact. And the reason I wanted to read him now is he really is looking back toward old Russia, and that's in the changes in the village and the change to industrialization. And it's really a lament, I feel, for old Russia. And I'm sure that the Russians today feel a connection with him because it brings back their roots in Russian history.
Yesenin's poetry, as well as Pushkin, it looks like they just did not work on their poetry. It poured like water, easily. And his rival and enemy, Mayakovsky, used to say that it is not a poetry because it is ringing as a bell, and not like Mayakovsky himself working hard.
Сергей Есенин. Песнь о собаке. Утром в ржаном закуте, где золотятся рогожи в ряд, семерых ощенила сука, рыжих семерых щенят. До вечера она их ласкала, причесывая языком, и струился снежок под талой, под теплым ее животом. А вечером, когда куры обсиживают шесток, вышел хозяин хмурый, семерых всех поклал в мешок. По сугробам она бежала, поспевая за ним бежать, и так долго-долго дрожала воды не замерзшей гладь. А когда чуть плелась обратно, слизывая пот с боков, показался ей месяц над хатой, одним из ее щенков. В синюю высь звонко глядела она скуля, а месяц скользил тонкий и скрылся за холм в полях. И глухо, как от подачки, когда бросит ей камень в смех, покатились глаза собачьи золотыми звездами в снег.
This is called Song About a Bitch. This too is a prose translation. In the morning, in a barn for storing rye, where bast mats gleam golden in a row, a bitch gave birth to 7 red-brown puppies. She fondled them until the evening, licking them smooth with her tongue, while the melting snow flowed beneath her warm belly. But in the evening, when the hens bespatter their perch with their droppings, the grim-faced master came out and bundled all 7 into a sack. She raced over the snowdrifts, keeping pace with him, and for a long, long time shudders ran across the smooth surface of the unfrozen water. But when she dragged herself wearily back, licking the sweat from her sides, she thought the moon above the cottage was one of her puppies. She gazed up into the dark blue sky, whining loudly, but the slender moon slid on and disappeared in the fields behind the hill. And softly, as though someone had thrown her a stone in jest, tears rolled from the bitch's eyes, like golden stars into the snow.
Письмо к матери. Ты жива еще, моя старушка? Жив и я. Привет тебе, привет. Пусть струится над твоей избушкой тот вечерний, несказанный свет. Пишут мне, что ты, тая тревогу, загрустила шибко обо мне, что ты часто ходишь на дорогу в старомодном ветхом шушуне. И тебе в вечерном синем мраке часто видится одно и то ж, будто
кто-то мне в кабацкой драке саданул под сердце финский нож. Ничего, родная, успокойся, это только тягостная бредь. Не такой уж горький я пропойца, чтоб тебя не видя умереть. Я по-прежнему такой же нежный и мечтаю только лишь о том, чтоб скорее от тоски мятежной воротиться в низенький наш дом. Я вернусь, когда раскинет ветви по-весеннему наш белый сад. Только ты меня уж на рассвете не буди, как 8 лет назад. Не буди того, что отмечталось, не волнуй того, что не сбылось. Слишком раннюю утрату и усталость испытать мне в жизни привелось. И молиться не учи меня, не надо, к старому возврата больше нет. Ты одна мне помощь и отрада, ты одна мне несказанный свет. Так забудь же про свою тревогу, не грусти так шибко обо мне, не ходи так часто на дорогу в старомодном ветхом шушуне.
Letter to my mother. Are you still alive, my old lady? I too am alive. Greetings, greetings to you. May that ineffable evening light flow over your little house. They write to tell me that, though you hide your anxiety, you are pining for me ever so much, and that you often come out on the road in your worn old-fashioned coat, and that in the blue darkness of evening you often imagine the same thing. Someone, you fancy, has stuck a sheath knife into me beneath the heart during a tavern brawl. It's nothing, my dearest, calm yourself. This is only a harassing play of fancy. I'm not such a confirmed drunkard that I should die without seeing you first. I'm just as loving as before, and my only dream is to escape from my restless misery and return to our little house. I'll return when our white garden spreads its branches in springtime fashion. But you mustn't wake me at dawn as you did 8 years ago. Don't awaken the dreams that have vanished. Don't disturb that which did not come true. Too early in life it fell to my lot to suffer weariness and bereavement. And don't teach me to pray. Don't do that. There's no returning to the past. You alone are my help and my comfort. You alone are my ineffable light. So forget your anxiety. Don't pine for me so much. Don't come out onto the road so often in your worn, old-fashioned coat.
Мы теперь уходим понемногу в ту страну, где тишь и благодать. Может быть, и скоро мне в дорогу бренные пожитки собирать. Милые березовые чащи, ты, земля, и вы, равнин пески. Перед этим сонмом уходящих я не в силах скрыть моей тоски. Слишком я любил на этом свете все, что душу облекает в плоть. Мир осинам, что, раскинув ветви, загляделись в розовую водь. Много дум я в тишине продумал, много песен про себя сложил. И на этой, на земле угрюмой, счастлив тем, что я дышал и жил. Счастлив тем, что целовал я женщин, мял цветы, валялся на траве, и зверье, как братьев наших меньших, никогда не бил по голове. Зная я, что не цветут там чаще, не звенит лебяжий шеи рожь, от того пред сонмом уходящих я всегда испытываю дрожь. Знаю я, что в той стране не будет этих нив, золотящихся во мгле. Оттого и дороги мне люди, что живут со мною на земле.
Little by little we are now departing to the land where there is peace and happiness. Perhaps for me too it will soon be time to pack my perishable belongings for the journey. Dear birchwoods, you earth, and you sands of the plains, I cannot hide my anguish at this crowd of departing fellow men. In this world, I have loved too much everything that clothes the soul with flesh. Peace be to the aspens which have spread their branches and are gazing into the pink waters. I have cherished many thoughts in silence. I have composed many songs in my mind, and I am happy to have breathed and lived upon this gloomy earth. I am happy at the thought that I have kissed women, crumpled flowers, lain about on the grass, and have never struck animals, our lesser brethren, on the head. I know the thickets do not flower there, nor do the rye stalks jingle their swan-like necks. That is why I always tremble at the crowd of departing fellow men. I know that in that land there will not be these cornfields gleaming golden in the haze. It is because they live with me upon the earth that men are dear to me.
Отговорила роща золотая березовым веселым языком, и журавли, печально пролетая, уж не жалеют больше ни о ком. Кого жалеть? Ведь каждый в мире странник пройдет, зайдет и вновь оставит дом. А всех ушедших грезит конопляник с широким месяцем над голубым прудом. Стою один среди равнины голой, а журавлей относит ветер вдаль. Я полон дум о юности веселой, но ничего в прошедшем мне не жаль. Не жаль мне лет, растраченных напрасно, не жаль души сиреневую цветь. В саду горит костер рябины красной, но никого не может он согреть. Не обгорят рябиновые кисти, от желтизны не пропадет трава. Как дерево роняет тихо листья, так я роняю грустные слова. И если время ветром разметая сгребет их все в один ненужный ком, скажите так, что роща золотая отговорила милым языком.
Golden Grove has ceased to speak in the gay language of birches, and the cranes, sadly flying past, no longer regret anyone. Who is there to regret? Is not every man in this world a wanderer? He passes by, he pays a visit, and again he leaves the house. The hemp field, together with the broad moon over the pale blue pond, dreams of all those who have gone away. I am standing alone in the bare plain, while the cranes are carried far away by the wind. I am full of thoughts about my gay youth, but I regret nothing in the past. I do not regret the years I squandered in vain. I do not regret the lilac blossom of my soul. A fire of rowan tree branches is burning in the garden, but it cannot warm anyone. The clusters of rowan berries will not be scorched. The grass will not grow yellow and perish. As a tree gently lets fall its leaves, so I let fall sad words. And if time, after scattering them in the wind, should rake them all into one useless heap, just say that the Golden Grove has ceased to speak in the language I love.
And the last one is precisely what he has written with his blood on the wall of that room in the hotel. До свидания, друг мой, до свидания. Милый мой, ты у меня в груди. Предназначенное расставание обещает встречу впереди. До свидания, друг мой, без руки и слова. Не грусти и не печаль бровей. В этой жизни умирать не ново, но и жить, конечно, не навеки.
Goodbye, my friend, goodbye. Dear friend, you are in my heart. our predestined parting holds a promise of a future meeting. Goodbye, my friend. No hand clasped, no word spoken. Don't be sad. And don't knit your brows in sorrow. In this life, to die is nothing new, but of course, there is as little novelty in living.
Well, I think it's really hard for us to imagine what. I think it's really hard for us to imagine what Russia's been through in this century. It's estimated that in their wars and with Stalin, that 60 million Russians have been killed in this century. They lost 20 million in World War II. There's a whole generation of Russian women with no men. It's like 50, 55, 60. There are no men in that generation. Stalin is estimated in wiping out the peasant class and so forth, killed about 40 million Russians. It's really unknown, but that's an estimate. They've been invaded a lot, and that's why they're building missiles like crazy. They're really afraid of invasion. Invaded by Napoleon, invaded twice by the Germans in this century. We'll now pass to four poets that we'll have one and then an intermission. But this is a book called Nightingale Fever, which I recommend to all of you. Clark found it in the library. And it's the intertwined lives of the other four poets passing through the revolution and what happened afterward. And the first one we'll read is Akhmatova. And she survived, could you hold those pictures, just because she was very famous as a person, just the way she looked. And she survived into 1966 and was very much a pre-revolution symbol type person. Famous for her love affairs, famous for her severity. She had a very austere, severe style. And I'll just read a little bit about her as a poet, but she was definitely a survivor. All these four people knew each other very well. Two of the poets we'll read in the second half were briefly lovers for a while. And Pasternak, all these people really knew each other very well. And so I just find a little bit about Akhmatova. I don't know if I lost my place. Huh.
I was going to point out while we're talking about the tragic end of poets, we didn't mention that Pushkin died in a duel, which may or may not have been rigged by people who wanted him out of the way.
Yeah, it was all to get him excited into the duel. I'll just read a little bit. This is, I don't know if I mentioned, this is Poets on Street Corners, which is readily available and has translations from, it's called Portraits of 15 Russian Poets by Olga Carlyle. Now, a lot of the translations are really adaptations like Robert Lowell did, so they're not strictly faithful, but it does have the Russian on one side and the translations on the other. And the translations are interesting. They're fun to read. And then she was the daughter of a Russian poet, a rather minor poet, and she went back to Russia and she visited. She knew a lot of these different people when she was a child, especially.
She was granddaughter of a famous Russian writer.
Oh, okay.
Leonid Andreev.
Did he write the Seven More Hanged? Is that the same?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That is him.
Oh.
He was her grandfather.
Okay.
His son was a minor poet.
Oh, okay. The grandfather
himself
yeah.
was, yeah.
And you can find the Seven Are Hanged.
Not the same level, of course, as Tolstoy, but quite famous, at least in his time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anna Akhmatova was essentially a St. Petersburg poetess. St. Petersburg was much more refined than Moscow. Has a different spirit, things I've read for the poets who came from there. The refined sobriety of her verse is representative of the most orderly, most European of Russian cities. She became a famous St. Petersburg literary figure in 1912 when her first book of poems was published there. Her early verse was intensely feminine, sensitive, uncannily exact in capturing delicate shadings of emotion. Breaking, and then until her death in 1966, Akhmatova grew steadily as an artist, never ceasing to write, even in difficult times. Well, it goes into all the tragedies in her life. One of them was that her son was picked up by Stalin's henchmen in the 30s, and he survived it, but she spent, I forgot how many days outside the prison in the line with the other women, something like 300 days, with all these women waiting to give packages to their relatives in the prison. And she has a very famous poem, which we won't read tonight, it's long, but called Requiem. because she promised. The woman turned to her in that line and said, can you write about this? And she said, I will. And then they all went back to being stone faces like they didn't know each other. So, as I say, she's a real carrier of the tradition, a real symbol as much as a poet.
And right after the war in Russia, she and Zoshenka were blamed publicly on pages of the magazine. It was the magazine Leningrad, literary magazine, Leningrad. She and Michael Zoshenka were blamed for being anti-revolutionary, anti-Soviet, and only their famous souls saved them from being killed at that time. It was right after she wrote Requiem. So how the rulers paid her for being.
Читай Гамлета. У кладбища направо пылил пустырь, а за ним голубела река. Ты сказал мне, ну что ж, иди в монастырь или замуж за дурака. Принцы только такое всегда говорят, но я эту запомнила речь. Пусть струится она 100 веков подряд горностаевой мантией с плеч.
This is called Reading Hamlet. I thought that was something. This is 1909. A barren patch to the right of the cemetery. Behind it, a river flashing blue. You said, all right then, get thee to a nunnery, or go get married to a fool. It was the sort of thing that princes always say, but these are words that one remembers. May they flow 100 centuries in a row, like an ermine mantle from his shoulders.
Он любил 3 вещи на свете: за вечерние пенье белых павлинов и стертые карты Америки. Не любил, когда плачут дети, не любил чая с малиной и женской истерики. А я была его женой.
She had a very unhappy first marriage. 3 things enchanted him. 3 things enchanted him: white peacocks, evensong, and faded maps of America. He couldn't stand bawling brats or raspberry jam with his tea, or womanish hysteria, and he was tied to me.
The direct translation is, and I was his wife. This is, I don't know why. That is a direct translation. Все мы бражники здесь, блудницы, как невесело вместе нам. На стенах цветы и птицы томятся по облакам. Ты куришь черную трубку, так странен дымок над ней. Я надела узкую юбку, чтоб казаться еще стройней. Навсегда забиты окошки. Что там? Изморозь или гроза? На глаза осторожной кошки похожи твои глаза. О, как сердце мое тоскует, не смертного ль часа жду, а та, что сейчас танцует, непременно будет в аду.
We're all drunkards here, and harlots. How wretched we are together. On the walls, flowers and birds wait for the clouds to gather. You puff on your burnished pipe, strange shapes above you swim. I've put on a narrow skirt to show my lines are trim. The windows are tightly sealed. What brews? Thunder or sleet? How well I know your look, your eyes like a cautious cat. Oh, heavy heart, how long before the tolling bell? But that one dancing there will surely rot in hell.
What year is that?
1913.
Okay, I thought that was, this is before World War II, and somebody,
World War One.
I'm excuse me, World War I, sorry. Yeah, somebody said the other day that the Renaissance ended with 1914 and World War I, and it really was the birth of the 20th century, as well as the Russian Revolution. So,
That is true.
yeah.
Many writers mentioned that actually the 19th century in Russia was longer than 100 years. It was from 1800 till 1913.
Uh-huh.
And this is about for World War One. I will read only first part. July of 1914. Okay. Июль 1914. Пахнет гарью. 4 недели торф сухой по болотам горит. Даже птицы сегодня не пели, и осина уже не дрожит. Стало солнце немилостью Божьей, дождик с Пасхи полей не кропил. Приходил одноногий прохожий, и один на дворе говорил: сроки страшные близятся, скоро станет тесно от